Another AEW Dynamite. Of course, they're on a real hot string of exciting action. We could talk about the ratings. I have them here. AEW Dynamite on Wednesday, April 9th, 2025 from 8 to 10:08 p.m. On average, watched by 659,000 viewers.
659,000. Now that is firmly in their wheelhouse or their flywheel or whatever, as they say these days. They're in the sixes now, usually 6 to 660 or so.
Well, for instance, last week was 594. So this is up 11% from that, according to WrestleNomics. The trailing 4-week average, 636. So 4% up on that.
So they're a little bit better than their weakest average ever. Okay.
Well, let's go to the quarterly breakdown. These were compiled by WrestleNomics. It does not include Max. And by the way, I've heard from multiple people who work in television who told me the streaming numbers of 500,000 being added to Dynamite is hogwash. Not one of them thinks it could be anywhere near that, and we would certainly know about it if it was. But let's go to the quarterly breakdown. Quarter 1, 8 to 8:15 p.m., the Jon Moxley backstage promo, the Moxley versus Shibata match, and the Young Bucks coming out for their promo, 767,000 viewers.
Okay, so it looks like they may keep some people for most of this show with that starting point and their average.
Well, quarter 2, 8:15 to 8:30 p.m., the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Okada, Swerve Strickland, Pac live angle. That's a way to put it. An ad break, and the start of Pac versus Swerve Strickland, 698,000 viewers.
Okay, I got to be honest with you. That's exceptional because they only lost 69,000 people after 15 minutes of that opening drivel that we were subjected to. That's a gift right there. I applaud them for that accomplishment.
We go now to quarter 3, 8:30 to 8:45 p.m.
The drivel continues.
The continuation of Pac versus Strickland. Ricochet and Crew and Beast Mordos and Will Ospreay and Mark Briscoe and Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey backstage angle. An ad break. The Billy Starks, Mercedes Moné, Harley Cameron backstage angle. I missed that. And the Adam Page, Prince Nana backstage angle, followed by an ad break. 629,000 viewers.
Ouch. Okay, that shows the culmination of that first 30 minutes of abysmal misery. Now they're down 138,000.
Well, we got a quarter 4, 8:45 to 9 p.m. Kevin Knight, Mark Briscoe, Mike Bailey, and Will Ospreay versus Crew and Ricochet and Beast Mortos with picture-in-picture. 604,000 viewers.
Wow. And it keeps going. Now they got to jump up here again to get to their average, I would think, here pretty soon. So they're at the top of the hour. Did they get a big pickup?
Well, we were at the big 9 o'clock hour, quarter 5, 9 to 9:15 p.m. The finish of the aforementioned 8-man tag match. MJF and the Hurt Syndicate's live angle. Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford's backstage promo. And an ad break. 688,000 viewers.
Holy shit, that is the biggest jump they've had at the top of the hour in my memory that I can recall since we've been doing this. They never pick up 84,000 people.
Well, we go now to quarter 6, 9:15 to 9:30 p.m. Thunder Rosa versus Chris Statlander with picture-in-picture. You did not review that match.
Yeah.
692,000 viewers.
It picked up 4,000 people. Okay, now something's happening here in hour 2. They're setting the world on fire.
We go now to quarter 7, 9:30 to 9:45 p.m. The finish of Rosa versus Statlander. Don Callis' backstage promo. The Paragon backstage promo. What the fuck's the Paragon?
I don't know. I was zoning out at that point.
The Learning Tree live promo. And Anthony Bowens' promo. 670,000 viewers.
This is an odd show because they have now, except for their strong open, quarter 2 and 3 were 698 and 629. Quarter 6 and 7 are 692 and 670. They never do better in the second hour than they do in the first. It has never happened, yet here they are. What a wonderful time to be alive.
Well, we go to quarter 8, and I remind you, we have an 8-minute overrun. 9:45 to 10 p.m., the Hurt Syndicate MJF backstage angle. That's when MJF walked into the room after they left.
Yeah.
An ad break. The Chris Jericho Learning Tree angle. And the start of the Death Riders versus the Ops. With picture-in-picture. 576,000 viewers. 8-minute overrun, more Ops versus Death. 568,000 viewers.
Ouch. Okay. So the people finally said at this point, we know what's going to be on the rest of the show. So they lost 102,000 people from quarter 7 to the overrun. But bravo on them for somehow getting people to watch the second hour of their show for the first time in history.
It's well over the 90-day trend line, as you've been pointing out here without seeing the graph. It's well above it for that second hour, so something happened. Either that, or MJF and the Hurt Syndicate stuff is getting some interest, which I could see, and Thunder Rosa and Chris Statlander asked every relative they have to please watch in the 9 o'clock hour. We'll be on at some point. I really don't
Statlander brought the Alpha Centauri audience into it.
No, Andromeda.
That's a much bigger... I thought she was from Alpha Centauri. No, that's where they were going on Lost in Space.
Yeah, she's from the Andromeda Galaxy.
Yeah, well, that's an even bigger galaxy. So there's a lot of people there.
I believe it's in Suffolk County. But that was AEW Dynamite's ratings.